India is one of the most protein deficient countries in the world. So big problem. So this entire industry, the healthy food and beverage industry itself is growing at a CAGR of 20% year on year. So essentially, like our clarity was in two things. We wanted to do entrepreneurship. That we were very clear.
See, for example, if I consider 2000 rupees protein powder and then 10,000 protein powder, both claim 25 grams, 21. What's the difference in the quality and how it is?
70% of the protein powders like don't meet the claims that they make, right?
Every food, packaged food that you see in the supermarket, that is rated from A to E. For a beverage, A is only given to water, nothing else.
Your Nuvi has PDCA score.
Yes, we have a PDCA score of 1 because we use milk and milk protein concentrate, excellent sources of protein. And the best part about it is that my name is Prashant. I come from an army background. Both my parents have served in the army. You know, it kind of built that culture of discipline and health in me ever since I was a kid. Joined NIT Surathkal here in Karnataka for my education, studied chemical engineering there, passed out from there and then joined a startup called Nestaway, founded by my college seniors itself. Worked there for about 3 years. So, applied at CultFit, got in, worked there for like about 5 years, mostly in business roles, wherein my job was to kind of start new businesses within Cult. Had some success with a few businesses, could scale them up to a 30 crore business in about 2 years. Learned a lot of things.
Yeah, so I am Hem. So I born and brought up in Patna. So that's where I spent my childhood. Did my schooling there only. Come from a tier 2 family, standard, middle class background. Was good at study, but could not get good enough ranks, so went to IIT Roorkee. Did my engineering from there, and after that joined a large company after my engineering. And then I realized, after spending like 6 months there, I realized I'm not built to work for a large company. I literally felt depressed working there. Felt like another brick in the wall. Then I went on to join Ola. That is back in 2014, like ending of 2014, and that was Ola's early days. So was fortunate enough to work with the founders and the founding team there. Went on to work with Ola for 3.5 years. Right? Then Ola became big, and I started not enjoying so much. So I went on to join Cult, again very early days, initial 30-40 employees. When I joined Cult, very small team. We were just present in 1 or 2 cities. So my role at Cult was to build the entire expansion channel, expansion muscle. So went on to expand Cult to multiple cities, from 20 centers to 200 centers. So saw that journey very closely, and also went on to expand Cult in the Middle East, right? And then COVID happened and things changed suddenly, right? So we had to shift our entire business model. Then we went on to build the entire Capex Slide business, which is the entire franchisee business for Cult.
Both had planned that you'll exit Cult and start something of their own. So what made you choose a product than a service?
So essentially, at Cult is a services company, right? It's a fitness services company. We provide service in the form of a group class to people who come do a class, and then so what we realize is that with services, the thing is that although we were good at operations, operations was our strength. We didn't want to get into a business which requires like day-to-day management, because it is a very, very complicated thing.
So when you both decided to start something of their own, as you said, it went 12 months of research, and then last October you guys launched. So when did you quit your jobs?
May this year.
May, June time.
Starting of May, I quit, and then in 20 days he quit.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Nuvi Nutrition, so what was that product you guys decided you will start?
So essentially, see, Nuvi Nutrition is not just a protein milkshake company, right?
Okay.
It's a healthy food and beverage company. We both have been practicing health and fitness for close to 8 years now, right? And during our initial journey, when we started off, we've tried everything that there is to try, right? So we tried extreme approaches, we followed athletes, we followed what they do, right? And we kept falling off track during that journey. But over time, we learned that, this is not the right approach. We studied more about nutrition, understood, what protein is, what macros are, what is the science behind all this. Figured that, if we could kind of help people achieve this balanced lifestyle that we both have figured out for ourselves through so many trials and errors, mistakes, pitfalls and all of that, right, we can solve a real problem for people, right? And so that started. So we wanted to do something in nutrition because eating healthy is like the single highest ROI thing you can do for your health, right? We chose this category because it was very new, and our target user is a beginner, right? And this person is not someone who will like jump onto a protein powder from day one. They are very scared of it. They have their own, misconceptions, right? You need to kind of learn a lot, and it's also expensive.
Afraid to commit.
Yeah, afraid to commit to it, right? And then it doesn't taste also very good. So we chose a very easy, approachable, low barrier to entry product like a milkshake.
When we started, there was only one brand that was building in this category, right? And what we saw in the West and in the developed countries, this has become established large category, right? And it basically makes your entire protein requirement more accessible, right? You can find it at quick commerce or in a retail store, right? So bringing people the supplement that they need closer to them, right? And it's a very accessible format to do that. And from a market point of view, this was a niche category in India, but that has already established in the West, right? And as India is growing at a very healthy rate, we see that this entire protein, and also the fact that protein as an important supplement is gaining traction and will continue to gain as we scale. And in fact, the pace of adoption will go up and up, right? And this category will become bigger.
I want you guys to highlight more on the part of year which you guys spent on the research. Okay.
Yeah.
So how was your approach towards the research, and what were the modes of research you guys were doing, and how much time you guys were investing on the research part and concluding it that you're gonna start this?
In October, in fact, we started with the entire market landscape. So we were very clear that we'll do something in
Can you
health and
tell
fitness.
how it all elaborate in a way that someone wants to do something, a research, and then he can have?
Our clarity was in two things, right?
Okay.
In fact, three. We wanted to do entrepreneurship. That we were very clear, right? Then we wanted to do something in health and fitness.
Okay.
Very, very clear. And third was that we wanted to do something in nutrition only, because it's a very high ROI evolving category. So these three were super clear on day one, right? So I think the first thing someone should do is figure out the category and the industry where they want to play, right? And the way that one should approach this is that this industry should be growing, right? This category should be growing, right? And they should have some passion towards that category. From there, we figured out what's there in the market, right? What other companies have tried, right? What is the size of the market? In the healthy food and beverage space, there are multiple categories, right? Ranging from your milkshake to your protein powder, to your biscuits, your namkeens, all of this. We saw places where the minimum competition exists, consumer interest is growing, there is a white space for us to enter, right? So very important points to kind of keep in mind while you're figuring out the category to choose from, right? And back then, I think protein was something that India was facing a lot of difficulty in. India is one of the most protein deficient countries in the world, so big problem. So this entire industry, the healthy food and beverage industry itself, is growing at a CAGR of 20% year on year.
So we started with multiple things. We thought of building kefir also for gut health, right? And few other such categories, right? And then by process of elimination, considering these 3-4 factors, we arrived at this category that we are building now.
If the viewers have to kind of take back one thing, we would strongly recommend talking to consumers. Talk to at least 200-300 people, right? And you will start seeing patterns.
When it comes to protein, right? So there are a lot of protein supplement brands when it comes to which starts from 1,000 to 5,000, 10,000. So when they claim, when it comes to nutrition fact, they claim that a scoop has 25 grams or 22 grams. See, for example, if I consider 2,000 rupees protein powder and then a 10,000 protein powder, both claim 25 grams, 21. What's the difference in the quality and how it is?
Recent news, 70% of the protein powders don't meet the claims that they make, right?
Yes.
Right? If you'd like to know, the ideal process should be that once you do your manufacturing, you should send it to a third-party trusted lab for testing, rigorous testing, and those test reports should be made available to the public. Talking about the third-party lab testing for protein supplements, right? There are authorities like Trusted Choice, Labdoor, really high-quality standards that they follow, right? Not a lot of brands go to them, right? There are a very few brands like Muscle Blaze in India, right? Optimum Nutrition from the UK who've gotten these certifications, right? And these are very, very good labs, good third-party testing centers, which kind of rigorously test the product, right? So for a consumer, you should look for these third-party labels on the product that you're buying. That usually is a testament of how the brand has kind of gone through a very rigorous process of testing even before going out, right? So I think it's on consumers to kind of start reading the labels, start looking for these certifications. There's a new startup called Unbox Health. They are doing a great job at making this process very easy for their consumers. So they, test multiple products.
Every food, packaged food that you see in the supermarket, that is rated from A to E.
E, okay.
For a beverage, A is only given to water, nothing else.
Oh.
So that is such stringent category, and every product has to pass through certain body.
So why it's not being implemented in India, as India is a developing country, and then there is no that tag kind of thing?
Yeah, so like FSSAI is taking the steps. In fact, in the last 2 years, there has been immense acceleration in this field, thanks to big influencers like Food Farmer.
Food Farmer, yeah.
Right? So, Food Farmer kind of started that campaign of awareness, reading the label. And, I'm sure like with the advent of so many brands in this space, like so many healthy food and beverage products brands in this space, and the growing awareness of consuming more protein in India, FSSAI is already taking steps to improve that. In fact, the regulations on brands like us also has kind of become a lot more stringent, right? All of our labels, all of our reports are being thoroughly tested and reviewed by FSSAI even before we can list.
So when it comes to Nuvi Nutrition, so how many products have been launched under Nuvi Nutrition?
So right now we have our protein milkshake that we launched with. We have 2 flavors in that. One is a chocolate and one is a vanilla. 2 more products within that range are coming soon in January itself. We're going to launch a Kesar Pista flavor as well for the Indian palate, and a very unique product which basically has 75 milligrams of caffeine and protein. So what we realized is that a lot of people used to consume our drink in the evening as a snack, and at that time they also kind of consume tea and coffee. So we kind of combined it into like a supercharged coffee, right? Essentially it's a coffee but with 20 grams of protein, right? So you kind of get best of both worlds, and then this will be the first products of its kind in India. There doesn't exist any others.
So I want you to answer why you guys have come up with that you will add 20 grams of protein.
What Indians largely struggle with is getting enough protein in the body, right? So if you're working out, you need to have at least 1.6 times of your body weight of your protein, right? And if you're like living dormant lifestyle, not doing anything, you need to have at least equal to your body weight, right?
It's like 1 kg 1 gram protein.
Correct, right?
No, I want to ask why it's 20 gram than 25 or 30.
So like an average sedentary male or a female in India, right? Their requirement for protein would be anywhere from 60 to 70 grams.
Because the ideal weight is around 60 to 70.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if someone is having a meal, so what will be the portion of protein he should consume to have that ideal?
So like as per USDA and ICMR, like a person should target to have at least 25% of their, so like imagine a plate. Let's say that you have a plate. 25, a quarter of that plate should be a lean protein source, right? In every single meal. That's what a person needs to target. It's a very easy way of also kind of thinking about protein. You don't have to think in numbers also, right? If you're trying to kind of meet your protein needs, if you're having like 1/4 of your plate, if you have a protein source for 25% of your plate is a protein source, that is good enough for you to kind of meet that 1 gram or 1.2 grams per day.
When it comes to your Nuvi Nutrition milkshake, okay, so what is the source of the milkshake and what are the ingredients?
The source of protein to start with, right? So we use milk and we use milk protein concentrate. Very, very high quality protein, has a PDCAS score of 1. Essentially, the quality
PDCAS
of
is something, a protein digestible amino acid score.
Exactly.
So that is one is the highest given by WHO.
Exactly.
Yes, I know. Okay.
So
your Nuvi has PDCAS score.
Yes, we have a PDCAS score of 1 because we use milk and milk protein concentrate, excellent sources of protein. And the best part about it is that it is lactose free. Close to 60% of Indians are lactose intolerant and they don't even know it, right? So we wanted to make sure that this is very easy on your gut, right? Easy to digest.
So when someone hears about milkshake, they'll feel that it has lactose, and so how do you take care of sending this message that it is lactose free?
So yeah, like on the packaging itself, we have a very big bold call out right on the top that it's lactose free. And through our website, we educate a lot more. We explain how we make it lactose free. Even our social media content, kind of brings out the aspect that it's a very easy to digest, easy on your tummy protein milkshake.
Yeah. And I think honestly, awareness is still building in India. So people, when they think that it's lactose free, like few of them don't think that it does not have milk, right? So people think of lactose, they think of milk. If lactose free, then no milk, right? Might be vegan. So I think that is some gap there that eventually people will get aware, and our job is to educate them through our multiple channels that we have got to educate them.
Right now, like in fact, we are India's only lactose free protein milkshake.
Okay.
Right, we took special care of that because when we were building the formulation, right, we checked what are the top two problems people face with protein, right? And the first problem was taste, and the second problem was hard to digest. It used to make them bloat, right? So we solved those two problems only. So our protein milkshake tastes like a regular milkshake. You won't figure out the difference between the two. And we've not only made it lactose free, we've also added 4.5 grams of prebiotic fiber, which is very healthy for your gut. And there's something called short chain fatty acids. When you have prebiotic fiber, short chain fatty acids are released, which strengthens your gut lining and gut barrier, right? Also reduces inflammation in the gut and makes it easy for you to digest, right? So we took special care of these two problems when we formulate.
So coming to one more important ingredient of the milkshake or any product, sugar.
Yeah.
How you have taken care of sugar portion?
So we were very clear that Indians are trying to reduce sugar. So we used a natural stevia, right, derived from plants to sweeten our beverages. It's a non-caloric sweetener. It doesn't spike your blood sugar levels at all, right, and it doesn't have any calories. Gives you the sweetness very, very close to a sugar. And that's how we have sweetened our products.
So when it comes to shelf life,
yeah.
So how many days I can store it?
Yeah, it's 180 days. You can store it for 6 months and at ambient temperature. You don't have to keep it in a fridge. You can keep it in ambient temperature. But taste is better when once you refrigerate and consume it.
Okay. So when I decide to add Novi nutrition to my lifestyle, so how often I have to consume milkshake to meet the requirement?
Yeah.
So what will be your ideal advice for me to consume?
So I think the way to look at it is that first start with how much protein do you need to consume per day, right? And depending on that number, let's say that ideally a person should aim anywhere from 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per day, right, in their diet. Now, if a person can fulfill their protein needs from food alone, that's fantastic, right? And you should continue to do that, right? And we are for whole foods. Like, we obviously won't say that keep consuming our product, right? So, but a lot of us are busy. We don't have time. We don't have time every single day, right? Some days we are free, relatively free, and some days are we super busy to kind of make our food or plan our meals, right? So, our advice is that whenever on the days that you're busy, right, a convenient source like a protein milkshake, like a ready-to-drink protein milkshake, can be taken as a snack or as a quick on-the-go breakfast. Our product has like around 180 calories, so it's a very ideal pre-workout snack or a post-workout, nutrition. Even if you don't work out, you should consume protein. I think I'll also kind of address that a lot of people think that only the days that they work out, they should consume protein. But protein is a very, very essential macronutrient. It is not just needed for muscle building, it also strengthens your bone, your skin, tissues, nails, hair, all of them are made up of protein, right? Your hormones are made up of protein, your immune system is made up of protein. So it's a very essential thing, right?
And one more thing that people think that protein is only for people who work out and as well as young people, right? But the thing is that as you grow, right, 30s and 40s, the absorption of protein in your body becomes slower and slower and lower and lower, right? That means you need to consume even more protein as you become older because your body starts to lose muscle mass and all that, right? That means you need to do more strength workout and consume even more protein that you used to consume earlier.
And there is something called protein is not stored in our body. Every day we have to keep fueling it up. Our रोज deadlift चल रहा था. It was going great at Culfit. हम लोग वहाँ से I was gonna plan to compete because I was 55 kgs, 55.3 hours, and I was lifting 165 kgs. So then they like will compete in upcoming event, and they're like, okay, cool, we can focus on that part. And in December, last year December, injury हो गया deadlift work. Then 6 months I didn't lift, then lost all the weights and everything, and then again I went to 53 kg something. Then 3 months back I was 61 kgs, now I'm 68 something. So then started again back. So
Yeah, just
then,
be careful with deadlift.
then I left. See, it was something, I was very underweight since college, since childhood itself. So I had drank diesel in my childhood, so that made health problem.
Why do you drink diesel? Yeah?
So I don't know. Then they had kept
How much diesel you drink? Like
so it was half liter bottle.
all of you drank. How old were you?
Around 4 years something.
You wanted tasty, that's why you drank.
No, it's like I didn't know how I drank. Then I was unconscious for 3-4 days.
Wow.
Then I came back. Then they removed all the diesel from my body. And then I came
How
back.
did they remove?
So they put a pipe. And then they tried.
My goodness.
Then that meant what for your health?
I was healthy. Then from there I didn't gain weight.
Oh.
So I had been to a lot of doctors. I tried a lot of
lining was
nutrition.
diesel only.
So
Fuck.
that happened.
You should have had engine oil. It
So that happened. Then height तो बढ़ गई लेकिन body नहीं बन रही. Then lot of people said gym जा body बनेगी, gym जा body बनेगी. From there I started lifting. कुछ हुआ नहीं. तो then I said nutrition is very important. कुछ भी करो. If gym करो like whatever proportion मुझे चाहिए, then you have to feed. Then from there I started learning for myself to know about my body, कैसा काम करता है. Then about my gut, everything. So how much I have to sleep. So all those things. Then I started knowing. Then फिर calisthenics शुरू हो गया. Then I'm loving calisthenics, so getting into that space. तो अभी देखते हैं. Then now MMA की तरफ थोड़ा सा मुड़ रहा हूँ. देखते हैं.
I was 55 kg in college. All 5 years.
तुम भाई MMA में बच के रहना थोड़ा सा.
तो kickboxing शुरू
Ola mein I used to live in hotels, and that's where I gained 20 kgs because hotel food is so unhealthy, and I gained in the wrong way.
तो क्या होता है ना, सी द थिंग इज पीपल कंपेयर विथ अच्छा हेल्दी दिखता है बट इंटरनली ही डोंट नो अबाउट हिज स्ट्रेंथ, राइट? दैट्स ऑल. सो आई वांट टू आई एम क्यूरियस टू नो दिस. सो व्हेन यू बोथ डिसाइड विल स्टार्ट समथिंग ऑफ योर ओन एंड देन slowly moved out of cult fit. So what made you believe in him and what made you believe in him?
So I'll take that. So incidentally we met over a cup of tea before cult. So actually he was going to join our team only. So I was in the interview panel of him. It was 1 year since I joined cult. It was back in 2019, I think. Yeah, and I was with cult for 1 year till then. And over a cup of tea, basically we had an interview schedule. It was late in the evening, 6:30 p.m. I was not feeling like talking to anybody. I just thought I wanted to have a cup of tea. So he was there, and I just told him that let's go and have a cup of tea. And at tea we discussed a little bit about him, and then he mentioned that how much he's into fitness, right? He had his own journey. He mentioned about it, and at cult we used to believe in the fact that people who had their own journey into fitness and who are passionate about fitness, they would like working with cult, right? And if they would like working with cult, they would like to give back to the company, and they would excel there. And of course, he had good background, worked really well at No Broker, Nestaway, had good reference, right? Somebody at cult knew him already, right? So already had a good strong input from that person. So he joined us, and he was actually the influencer in the group, fitness influencer. So before he joined, we used to go and work out, but we did not have a set regime to work out, right? So after he joined, he used to, make all of us go together, right? In fact, we had a WhatsApp group. It still exists. It's called Dole Shole. A bunch of us, cult people. Incidentally, few of us are founders now in different companies, right? So also became sort of, that aspect. But, a bunch of us used to go out and work out, and it was him coaching all of us. So, right. So now he used to make programming for all of us, and all of us used to train under his guidance. So, and then all of us, that really helped us to, build our fitness journey, and all of us, got into that regime. And while we were at it, and I think I and Prashant stick together, right? Things changed, people moved on and all that happened. But, we used to continue working out together, right? And we also ended up having new interests, right? So he is also a football player, like a real sports person, athlete, right? Always open to explore, new fitness regime, right? And I am also, someone like that. I used to, though I don't come from a fitness, or a sports background from college, but I was so like I mentioned, right, at college I was 55 kg of weight, right? I was highly underweight, and then In my first job, I ended up living in hotels, and I ended up gaining 20 kgs there, and in a bad way, right? Then I picked up running, right? On and off, I started running, and then I came in good shape. But with working out when I joined Cult, I got into that regime of working out, and especially with him, that became very consistent, right? So then I realized, right, it's all in your hands, right? Fitness is in your hands. You just have to take that one step, that second step, and third step, and after that, it becomes on autopilot. You start enjoying that journey, right? So that made me realize that we always be open to new regimes, right? New sort of fitness ideas. So I never played football. He formed a group of people to play football. People at Cult used to go and play football, and he was the captain of our team. So I also signed up. So started playing a little bit. Then he picked up climbing, so I also signed up. So we started doing multiple things together, right? We used to go to gym, we used to go and climb, we used to go and play football, we used to go running. So all that used to happen together, right? That was from 2021 to last year, right? And during that journey, we also realized and each other. We also got to know each other more, right? Understood each other's strength and weakness and our interests, right? And got to know that we both want to build something, and that's when it all started, right? We used to go for a walk and talk more, and that's how the journey is.
To add to that, I think so. Like I have like a very close set of friends, like 4 or 5, right? And they all have a certain vibe, right, which matches mine. And like him, I think was one of the very few people at Cult who kind of fit into that very well. So it was almost like Haim is like 2 years ahead of me in future, but exactly like me in a lot of ways. So I think number one that he's excellent at talking to people, right? I like it drains me a little bit to kind of go out and like talk to 10 people, but that exact same thing he enjoys and loves a lot. So that complementary skill set, he kind of matching into that vibe of a friend more than a co-founder. And plus, like we had a lot of common interests, like both like building, both like learning, both like health and fitness, and that kind of convinced me this is the guy I'd like to work with, right? So it was actually pretty it started almost like 5 years back. Like the selection process, it's not like last 1 year.
So in this journey, so what are the learnings you guys wanna share with our viewers?
Yeah, so learning or challenges, whatever you want to say. When we started, we thought that okay, these are the steps. We'll do step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 4 we will launch, right? We had certain timeline in head. We sort of we were planning, working on that, right? Once we got into it, we realized it's a product business, food product business, right? So any changes that you have to do, it takes time. Unlike it's not a tech business. You can't do an alpha or beta out, right? And do some internal testing and then roll in the market, right? You can't keep iterating overnight, right? It takes time. So let's say you have one product from the lab. You want to make some changes. You give feedback to the to the team, and they work on it, and then the product comes out again from the lab, right? And the entire step takes time because they also have to figure out what will work, what will not work, right? They also have to do some permutations and combinations from their end, right? And then you give feedback again, and that you keep iterating, because in food business, you do not get second chance. You have to launch with the right product. There's no beta, there's no alpha. It has to be the best product that you can build, right? So it took some time to perfect the lab recipe. And then we thought, okay, we are done now. We'll just go to the factory and get it manufactured. And that was another set of challenges. So once you go in the factory, the conditions are entirely different, right? That even the small things like temperature of the factory, the pressure, the environmental factors there, right? The humidity there, right? That will impact everything that you are building, right? So things change at that scale because the scale is bigger. And we did the trial and it failed. So, yeah. So it failed miserably, right? But we did the trials for both products at large scale and both of it failed. We remember that we thought that we'll go get this product, bring it back, go to the market, start selling. We went there, it failed, and we were so depressed. And it took us some time to realize that this is how it is going to be. It is a journey, and it actually failed the next time as well. But it's a process that it took us some time, and now it is the process that we have accepted. That's how it's going to be. For every product, it will take some time for us to perfect the lab part, and then while we scale in the market, in the factory, it will be on a journey altogether. So that is the reality of this entire F&B business that we have to deal with. So have to be patient, 100%.
Yeah. And like adding on top of that, I think what we realize is that, in this kind of a business, since there are so many moving parts, right, there is a lot of ripple effect that happens, right? If I have to change one single ingredient in the product because the consumer feedback on that is not good, right, or the perception about that ingredient is not good, there are so many things I have to take care of, right? Firstly, I have to figure out a new formulation, test the formulation, see if it is tasting as good as not. Then I have to go to the contract manufacturer, get it manufactured. I have to change my packaging design. That's a whole set of steps to kind of take care of. So it's a very complicated thing. You can't just like simply out of nowhere just change an ingredient and then everything will be okay, right? So it's not as fast to execute compared to a services business. Product requires a lot of deliberation, a lot of testing, being very thorough, and that was one of our core learnings. And the overall process that kind of goes behind it is something that we learned by making a lot of mistakes, right? Second learning was that in product, unless you have a strong moat, you cannot win, right? Because tomorrow a person can just come in, look at your formulation, right, and then probably copy you, right? So you need a moat. And that moat usually in this industry is either you have your own R&D setup or your own manufacturing facility, which for a startup is very, very hard to get because it requires like intense amount of capital to be put behind it. So that is out of the question. And the other one is to kind of build a strong brand, right? And what we have realized is that brand building is a beast, right? And we've kind of come to terms with the fact that this is going to take the next 5 years of our life to kind of figure out our brand. What is our brand voice? How should we position our product? What idea will our customers resonate with? So I think it's a journey for us, right? Even we have not figured out how to build a brand. But I think that is one of the things that we learned, right? And this was all new in spite of having like 18 years of experience between the two of us of working at fast growing startups. This was very, very challenging and surprising to us.
How do you want consumers to understand about this brand? So this I have to drink in a breakfast or else in the evening snack. Yeah. So how this?
So as a brand, right, we promote a balanced lifestyle.
Okay.
We don't say you should give up sugar. We don't say that processed food is bad, right? Processed food also brings convenience in your life, right? When you don't have the time to kind of follow a healthy routine, right? We don't say any of that because our consumer is someone who's just starting their health and fitness journey, right? And if you want to kind of resonate with that customer, you have to first understand where they are coming from. If I start criticizing their choices, कि ये जो आप कर रहे हो ये गलत है, ये आप खा रहे हो ये गलत है, ये कल से छोड़ दो, right? Stop everything from tomorrow. That kind of approach will not work, right? There are so many influencers out there who demonize choices, right? You should not drink Diet Coke because it's bad for you, right? And all of these things are not based in scientific evidence, right? They don't talk about how many cans of Coke do you need to drink per day to have any harmful effects on your body, right? It could be in 300s or 400s, right? So the way that we have approached is, listen, you should enjoy your life and also enjoy health, because getting any health outcome will take you at least 5 to 10 years. In health and fitness, any outcome is going to take time, right? We've been doing health and fitness for over 8 years now, and your body takes time to adapt, right? Your body takes time to grow. So, firstly, a person has to kind of build a mindset that this is going to take time, right? And what kind of choices am I going to make today, which I can sustain for the rest of my life, is what someone should ask, right? That's the starting point. So essentially, Newbie is all about that, right? At Newbie, we believe that balanced lifestyle is a lot more sustainable, and that is the only way for you to achieve the health outcomes you want, right? So the way that we approach product building is that someone who's just starting the fitness journey, how to make it extremely easy for this person to adopt a health promoting behavior, right? Protein is a crucial. We started with that because protein is a very, very crucial macronutrient, right? So we started with the problem that how do we make people consume protein without having any issues with it, which is why we are very bullish on taste. We are very bullish on solving for digestion, right? So essentially our approach towards building is that we pick up the problems that our TG, which is a beginner health conscious consumer, has, and we solve those problems, right? So the first problem that we picked up is how to add more protein to the diet, right? We will soon start solving for how to solve for sweet cravings. A lot of us get sweet cravings, right, every single day, right? And people tend to kind of fall off track because of that. So, we have plans to make guilt-free treats for these people, very low calorie, that satisfies the sweet cravings and then keeps them on track, right? So, again, the approach is very problem-centric. Pick up the problem that our consumer is facing and solve that for them, while promoting the idea that, you need to have a balanced lifestyle. You don't need to give up anything. So, as a brand, that's the idea that we want to build on.
So when it comes to starting a startup, right? Capital is very important. How do you guys manage about that part? So are you guys bootstrapped or funded?
So we did raise some fund. We had some believers in us. We are invested by people such as Mukesh Bansal and a few leadership team at Cult, and family and friends who trust us. So that did help us to get started.
You guys went to them with an ideation, or else already it was going on then?
No, we did have an idea then. We were not live. We were not out in the market. We had some idea. In fact, the idea has also gotten defined since then. It was more of the fact that they had worked with us at professional level, or they would have known us since college. So that network did help us to get started. Some funds we collected from them.
Crazy, and I wish all the best for that. This thing. So when it comes to, as you said about the announcements, right? So these were more focused towards protein. So when it comes to nutrition, other parameters are also important, like vitamins, minerals. So what's your plan into that part?
Yeah, so I think we picked up the most important macronutrient because right now the market has a pull towards protein, right? There's a natural tendency for people to look out, and it's a massive problem to solve, right? So that's why we started with protein. That doesn't mean that the other nutrients and micronutrients are not important. So I think after this, our focus would be to kind of help people manage their portion control, right? Manage their calories a lot better, right? Within the same diet that you're having throughout the day, how can you, like who's probably like an intermediate user, manage your calorie intake better, right? So we will kind of foray into categories wherein we'll launch high protein, low calorie options as well, right? Then, plans are to kind of enable workout performance. So, our customers are obviously beginners, but they will eventually evolve into an intermediate person, right? And an intermediate person is already slightly regular with their health and fitness routine. So how to kind of support their workout routine, right? How to create products to support their workout performance, right? So we'll start thinking about that. So products with caffeine, hydration, right? With more fiber to improve gut health, is in our pipeline. So still evaluating, we've not kind of finalized on that, but we're thinking in that direction.
Pretty much a lot of discussions happens around health, fitness, protein, about the startup, so building a startup. So, and thank you so much for being on our podcast. So wish all the best for Movie Nutrition. So let's sit at your heights. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for having me so much.